traveler and Paimon.
Hi.
What a fantastic night. I'm still immersed in all the happiness and joy, like a candle floating on water.
So are we, and that's why we're here to talk with you.
Is
Stimmt.
there anything you want to know?
Naja,
After recent events, the Akasha can no longer function as it used to. I've given it some thought, and have decided to shut it down permanently. But
Yep.
this is definitely not a bad thing. Even from the beginning, I've been planning to shut it down. The Akasha's centralized administration of knowledge has always restrained people's curiosity and curtailed the number of paths available to them. I don't think this is good for Sumeru. Although people may initially feel a little uncomfortable with the loss of the Akasha, they will soon understand that this life is more suitable for them.
stimmt.
And as for the future of Sumeru, I'm preparing to regain control of the academia. The former sages have received their punishment, but the new sages have yet to be selected. I will oversee the process personally.
Stimmt.
I hope that the new 6th grade sages will be more focused on academics. Sumeru needs such leaders more than ever. The other big issue is the people of King Deshret. All the residents of the desert, in fact. They have been mistreated for far too long. I've already taken some measures to address this. It will take some time to rebuild everything, but no matter if it's culture, friendship, or trust, we...
Okay.
You mean, what happened after the doctor put you to sleep?
Yep.
You guessed correctly. The top-ranked Fatui Harbingers, up to number 3, possess power comparable to that of gods. I was no match for him in that kind of situation. However, in spite of the bad situation, I still managed to make a fair deal with the doctor. I'm
yeah.
sure you remember the entity that changed your fate, the Heavenly Principles. In fact, the Heavenly Principles has been quiet since the Conria disaster 500 years ago. I used this point as leverage against the doctor. I told him that the Heavenly Principles may be awakened if I destroy the Gnosis. Although it's just a bluff, he still fell for it. I assumed that the Heavenly Principles wouldn't just stand by and let such extensive damage to its laws take place. And as for what I exchanged for the Gnosis, the exchange served as both punishment for the doctor as well as a boon of new knowledge that I couldn't refuse as the god of wisdom.
Und Scaramouche?
He's still in a coma. I've hidden him like how one would hide a feather. I know you have many misgivings about him, but as someone who had become a god, he has retained a number of very useful features. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't do any evil. In addition, there are still some mysteries left in him. Some things may be very clear from my perspective, but he is still yet to understand them himself. His future will be determined by fate.
Ja. Und Fontaine?
Is that where you're headed next? Fontaine, the nation of justice? As far as I know, that nation operates in the judicial system.
Yep.
Does their Archon personally judge people?
No, there's a Chief Justice in Fontaine. Generally speaking, the Hydra-Archon, Focalor, won't preside over individual trials. However, even then, Focalor will still make herself present at just about every trial. It seems that she just likes to immerse herself in that sort of atmosphere. As Archon, she still reserves the right to influence the final verdict. Anyway, let's just say she's got, a
Das glaub
very
ich.
unique personality.
Okay. Willst du nicht was über deinen Bruder wissen?
Are you sure? Isn't there something else you haven't asked about yet?
Huh? You mean...
About your brother. While you were resting at Gandharvaville, I took some time to perform an Irminsul search for information on your brother.
Naja, aber wir kommen doch von außerhalb.
Yeah, isn't Irminsul a repository for all the information and memories of Teyvat? So there shouldn't be anything on her or her brother.
This is true in your case. Irminsul indeed does not have any information on you. However, There must be something different about your brother. Because, as it turns out, the world has recorded information on him after all.
Okay.
What?
There's only one possible explanation. He belongs to this world.
Ah. Ich weiß es nicht.
But nothing about this makes any sense. Wasn't this your first trip to Teyvat?
Ja.
According to the records I was able to access, your sibling suddenly appeared in Conria. After the Conria disaster, he began his journey through the 7 nations of Teyvat. But just as his journey was about to reach its conclusion, the Irminsul records on him suddenly become fuzzy.
What do you mean, fuzzy? Did something happen to him?
All I know for sure is that somebody, for reasons only they can know, is deliberately obfuscating his fate. And whoever it is, if they can do that, who knows what else they're capable of.
Na, das hat bestimmt mit dem Abyss zu tun.
But even that wouldn't explain how he somehow comes from this world.
Something else I noticed was that according to these records, the Fatui have not classified your sibling as one of the Descenders.
Nicht?
What's a descender? Paimon's never heard of it.
Look, I'm sure you must be curious about the information I received from the Fatui in return for my gnosis, right? A very important part of the intel was about this world's Descenders. External beings, ones that don't belong to this world. Traveler, you are Teyvat's 4th Descender.
Ah.
Huh? So the Fatui count 3 other Descenders before the Traveler? And
Und
her
vielleicht
brother
sogar noch
isn't
welche
even
danach.
one of them?
That's right. My current hypothesis is that the first Descender was likely what we now call the Heavenly Principles.
Gut möglich.
As for the other Descenders, I still need to verify their existence.
Paimon's head's about to burst from all this crazy new information.
And yet, even knowing all this, I'm sure you must still have a
Ja,
lot
aber
of
wir sind doch schon wieder
unanswered
einen Schritt
questions.
näher.
There are many questions in my heart as well. And soon, you'll also begin your journey anew and depart from Sumeru. I'm very interested in your future. It's a journey that can't be observed or recorded by this world. If fate is the ultimate knowledge, then your future will be the ultimate fate.
Ah ja,
I'm sure glad we got to meet you, Nahida.
The
definitiv.
pleasure is all mine. I can't thank you enough. Alright, that's enough talk for today. If you ever miss me, just close your eyes, and maybe I'll appear in your dreams.
Aw. Ja, ja, das wissen wir ja. Na dann. Einmal nach Fontaine, damit wir dann auch endlich mal das Event durchziehen können. Nö. Das wartet ja schließlich auch schon. So. Ach, der ist hier. Wo ist er denn? Ach, da. Na, dann kommen wir so wunderbar dahin. Ach ja. Aber es ist schön in Sumeru. Ist mit einer meiner Lieblingsplätze. Mittlerweile. So. Na dann. Hatschi! Der Duft dieser Gewürze ist so Hatschi! Schnell, das Foto und dann wieder rein. Hallo Reisende. Reisende, warte einen Moment. Kann ich dir helfen? Ich möchte dich bitten, ein Foto für mich zu machen. Nur eins, es wird nicht lang dauern. Die Gewürze hier sind mir ein bisschen zu aromatisch. Als ich in Fontaine war, habe ich kein scharfes Essen gegessen. Maximal ein bisschen Salz. Aber hier niese ich so heftig, dass ich nicht... Hatschi! Ich kann nicht einmal den Fotoapparat richtig ruhig halten. Deshalb kann ich nur andere bitten, Bilder für mich zu machen. Du machst einen netten Eindruck, also dachte ich, ich könnte dich vielleicht fragen, ob du mir diesen Gefallen tust. Kommst du aus Fontaine? Genau, ich habe mich nicht vorgestellt, tut mir leid. Mein Name ist Augustus Lovelace. Ich bin ein Forscher am Forschungsinstitut für kinetische Energie Fontaine. Bitte? Ist der Name zu lang? Du kannst es Forschungsinstitut Fontaine nennen, wie es die Einwohner von Fontaine tun. Früher war das Forschungsinstitut Fontaine ein heiliger Ort für Forscher aus Fontaine. Und der größte Teil der Vorrichtungen und Maschinen kommt aus unserem Institut. Doch unter dem Vorsitz des talentierten Herrn Edwin sind die meisten Gebäude des Forschungsinstituts Fontaine nun ein Trümmerfeld. Ah ja. Nachdem Herr Raimondo und Herr keine Ahnung, den Wiederaufbau übernommen hatten, brach auch der Forschungsgeist des Instituts zusammen. Ich bin ein ordentlicher Mensch, der nicht in so einem Trümmerfeld leben möchte. Also reise ich einfach herum und mache eine Pause von allem. Kein Grund, die Stirn zu runzeln. All diese Sorgen sind nicht die deinen. Hier, bitte mach schnell ein Foto für mich. Nachdem Xavier die Landschaft von Sumeru gesehen hat, wird er sicher nicht mehr in Inazuma bleiben wollen. Apropos Xavier. Er ist auch ein Forscher am Forschungsinstitut Fontaine. Ich habe mit ihm im selben Labor gearbeitet und er hat mir viele nützliche Ratschläge gegeben. Die kennen wir, oder? Er bestand darauf, Filme zu machen und auch Filmregisseur zu werden. Damals stieß diese Idee bei Mitarbeitern des Forschungsinstituts auf wenig Gegenliebe. Obwohl er später anderen Projekten zugeteilt wurde, drehte er weiterhin Dokumentarfilme, unter dem Vorwand, den Forschungsprozess zu dokumentieren. Er pendelte dann zwischen Projekten und Forschungslabors hin und her, bis er schließlich nach Inazuma versetzt wurde. Er ist ein Mensch mit großen Ideen. Ich bin sicher, wäre er in der Vergangenheit geboren worden, als es genügend finanzielle Mittel gab und die akademische Atmosphäre frei war, oder wäre er in einer besseren Zukunft geboren, hätte er Großes vollbracht. Reden wir erstmal nicht darüber. Würdest du bitte ein Foto für mich machen? Genau hier. Ja. Bitteschön. So, das ist ein großartiges Foto. Du hast ein Talent dafür. Es ist das erste Mal, dass ich auf meinen Reisen jemanden treffe, der ein so gutes Gespür für Komposition und Farbe hat. Welche Orte hast du besucht? Nun, ich hätte direkt von Fontaine nach Sumeru reisen können. Immerhin gibt es eine direkte Verbindung von Fontaine zum Beiderhafen von Sumeru. Aber wie man so schön sagt, der Weg ist das Ziel. Also wählte ich eine wesentlich interessantere Route. Zuerst passierte ich Lumidus Hafen, bis es mich ins Shenju-Tal verschlug. Ich durchquerte das Kinshir-Dorf und erreichte schließlich das Steintor, welches die Grenze zwischen Mondstadt und Liyue bildet. Nach meinem Besuch im Weingut Morgenröte beschloss ich, nach Süden zu reisen, um mir Liyue anzusehen. In Liyue habe ich die Fähre nach Ormos genommen und bin dann über den Fluss nach Norden gefahren. Jetzt bin ich hier und habe dich getroffen. Schließlich bin ich auf Reisen gegangen, um mich von allem zu erholen. Wäre ich ein eifriger Abenteurer? Vielleicht hätte ich den alten Pilgerweg von Romaritime-Hafen aus nehmen und nach Süden in die Wüste reisen sollen. Aber wer weiß das schon? Vielleicht werde ich auf dem Rückweg versuchen, die große Wüste zu durchqueren. Ich habe noch eine ganze Menge Mittel bei mir übrig. Vielleicht wäre das eine gute Idee, durch die Wüste nach Natlan zu reisen. Nun, ich werde deine Zeit nicht länger beanspruchen. Vielen Dank für das Foto. Bitte akzeptiere diese Belohnung. Ich muss jetzt an Xavier schreiben. Wenn er jetzt nicht nach Sumeru kommt, würde ich nicht mehr auf ihn warten und zurück nach Fontaine reisen. Ah ja. Heine Güte, hat er viel zu reden. Und jetzt? Und was denn jetzt? Ah ja. Ja, das können wir auch gleich mitnehmen. Nein! Ich glaube, von hier aus kommen wir ganz gut da hoch, ne? Das müsste hier irgendwo sein. Ja, da oben. Ja, so ist es. Nehmen wir das nämlich auch gleich mit.
Ad Astra Abyss.
Dankeschön.
Thank you for completing.
Und noch mal.
Ad Astra Abyss.
Nehmen wir das nämlich auch gleich mit. Okay. Was haben wir hier? Achso, das. Ah ja. Okay. Dann auf dahin. Vielleicht kriegen wir da ja die Möglichkeit, direkt nach Fontaine zu reisen, ohne dass wir da großartig irgendwas machen müssen. Es war nur eine vage Vermutung oder Hoffnung, aber man weiß ja nie. Wir müssen ja sowieso mit ihm reden. Nö. Können wir das auch gleich machen? Wenn es schon dazu gehört, zur Hauptquestreihe. Okay. Juhu.
Huh? Wait, you're that blonde traveler who's on a journey to all corners of Teyvat, right?
Irgendwie schon.
Do you need something from us?
You bet I do. I was worried I wouldn't be able to find you. I have a letter for you, you see. It's from another Outlander. He was a crafty fellow, let me tell you. Took advantage of a loophole in our mailing system by opting for guaranteed delivery, then filling in the most obscure mailing address I've ever seen.
Well, we
yeah.
are always on the road, so yeah, it's pretty tough to get mail to us unless we happen to go to the post office on a whim. So, what address did that person give you anyway?
Eigentlich hätte er Catherine eingeben können.
He just wrote, next to a small, white-haired talking fairy.
What? So the address is Paimon?
Yeah, exactly, right? And if I failed to deliver the letter, I'd have been bound by regulation to compensate him. Really, he got me good. I count myself very lucky that I ran into you here. Of course, here it is.
Come on, Paimon wants to have a look too.
Na dann. Es ist schon eine Weile her. Wie geht es dir? Ich habe gehört, dass ihr beide in Sumero unterwegs seid. Und ich bin zufällig aus dienstlichen Gründen in Ormos. In letzter Zeit gehe ich jeden Nachmittag auf 1 oder 2 Drinks in die Java-Taverne. Wenn das Glück auf meiner Seite ist und dieser Brief dich erfolgreich erreicht, dann komm zu mir und wir können über alte Zeiten plaudern. Wir sollten es als eine schicksalhafte Begegnung sehen. Ja.
Huh? So he's here in Sumeru. Now that Paimon thinks about it, Crafty does describe him pretty well. From what he wrote in the letter, it looks like he didn't think there was much chance of it reaching us.
Ja.
Or maybe he's just being sneaky. Do you think he's making this sound like a miracle of fate so that we'd have to go meet up with him?
Naja, dann gehen wir.
Yeah, you're right. It's always nice to see old friends. The
Klar.
letter says that he hangs out at Jafar Tavern every afternoon. Perhaps we should drop in on him then, huh?
Ja. Hätte mich doch gleich ansprechen können, er ist doch schließlich ein Team. Ah, der Name kam mir gleich bekannt vor. Okay. Ach so, zwischen 16 bis 18 Uhr. Na dann. Okay. So sollte das funktionieren. Und dann kriegen wir auch gleich den Marker. Ich hoffe doch, dass er uns dann gleich direkt nach Fontaine bringt. Das wäre zumindest schon mal, ne? Vorteilhaft. Und ich werde jetzt, glaube ich, erstmal kurz pausieren. Dann machen wir gleich weiter. Nö? So, dann wollen wir mal.
I should be at Jafar Tavern right now. Let's go see him.
Ja. Ah ja, ich sehe ihn schon. Na dann.
I'll have something I haven't tried yet, boss.
Ah ja.
Sorry, sir. I'm afraid you've already tried every type of liquor we serve.
Ah.
Well then, just the bill, please. It's just as well, I suppose. I do have other matters to attend to.
Kaya, you're really here. Paimon half thought you were playing some sort of prank on us.
Hey, Paimon, traveler. Looks like the gods smile upon me after all. And come now, I wouldn't joke about wanting to see my good friends.
Ja, wir wollten dich eigentlich auch sehen.
Wait a second. You must be here on official business, right? What do you think you're doing spending every afternoon drinking at the tavern? You itching for a lecture from Jean?
Not at all. The acting Grand Master positively terrifies me. Why would I ever do anything that might displease her? The truth is, I'm in Sumeru to learn about the alcohol industry here.
Ah.
So despite how it might look, I'm actually at Jafar Tavern for strictly business purposes. Sumeru spices are famous the world over, and it's long been rumored that this fine establishment was where a certain very popular spiced cocktail was invented. That's why the Knights sent me, their foremost expert in alcoholic beverages, to come and see if it is as good as the rumors say.
Hätten sie da nicht Deluxe senden müssen?
And how did that go?
So far, so good. I'm already in talks with some spice merchants in Port Ormos about some potential collaboration.
Okay.
Yeah, that does sound like a great business opportunity. Guess Don Winery and Master D-Luke are gonna make a tidy sum from this one too, huh?
Well, let's
Vielleicht.
not get ahead of ourselves. Whether this lucrative opportunity gets passed along to Don Winery or not depends on how nice I'm feeling.
Hey, using your job to settle personal grievances isn't very knightly, Captain.
Warst du übrigens schon mal hier?
Oh? What makes you say that?
Naja.
Very sharp of you. I wouldn't say I'm familiar, though. I just came here on the sly once, when I was very young.
Ah.
And? Do continue.
Bindet uns wieder einen Bären auf.
Do I have to? When I said we could talk about the old times, digging up my past wasn't exactly what I had in mind.
Naja, wir plaudern ja nur.
Well, all right, since you're so interested. Like I said, I was very young then. Don Winery had only just taken me in. I overheard my adoptive father talk about sending a team of merchants to Sumeru during a business meeting. I'm sure you'll agree that everyone's curious about their roots on some level. And my roots? They're in Conria, which is said to have been located deep underground, somewhere near Sumeru.
Ja, das habe ich schon
And
gedacht.
so I stowed myself away amidst the cargo, and silently joined the merchant delegation on their trip to Sumeru. But it wasn't long before the merchant delegation received news that I'd gone missing. Their leader promptly found me, and before I knew it, my adoptive father was dragging me back home by the ear. It was a short-lived adventure. Sorry I don't have a more thrilling story for you.
Naja, was weißt du eigentlich noch über Kanria?
Honestly, not much. The only reason I knew that Conria was near Sumeru is because I happened to read that in a book when I was young.
Ah, und er ist auch schon wieder
My
da.
life had less and less to do with Conria as I grew up, and so I started caring less as well. I used to believe that I had inherited some sort of duty from my father. But then I began to wonder. Maybe my father left me in the peaceful land of Mondstadt for no other reason than simply to keep me alive. As well as ensuring that I'd be safely cut off from certain things. The thought that I might be able to actually live a happy life there must have been the icing on the cake. This is obviously all speculation. Simply put, I'm afraid that I'm not
Ja, aber
particularly
ein
in the
Bekannter
know
hat
on
auch
this
zugehört.
topic. These days, my surname, Alberich, is probably the only link to Conria that I have left.
One death afternoon, please, boss.
Ah ja. Ich wusste doch, dass er es ist.
Tell me,
What do you know about the significance of that name, Alberich?
Dainsleif?
Na, er ist auch aus Kanria.
Ah, you've decided to join us. I was wondering how long you planned on listening in. I believe I've seen you before in Mondstadt. Dainsleif, if I'm not mistaken.
So you remember me. Then we are already acquainted, Kaya Alberich, descendant of the Abyss Order's founder.
Oh. Bitte?
What?
I take it that you weren't aware of this until now, Kaya. Or you wouldn't have been so forthcoming with your surname.
Oh my. That's quite a lot of baggage for a surname, isn't it? Though I must say, it does confirm an old suspicion of mine. I suppose that was why my father left me in Mondstadt after all.
I'm surprised that you take me at my word without the faintest hint of skepticism.
Well, perhaps what you told me just happens to answer some questions I carry in my memories. And in any case, I recognize your eyes. You're a pure-blood Conrian, aren't you?
Ja.
Very clever. Forgive me for being direct, but I sincerely hope this new knowledge doesn't change anything. If you've already let go of your ties to the past, then keep it that way.
Kaya, you're not involved with the Abyss Order in any way,
Glaube
are
ich
you?
nicht.
Hey, hold on now. This conversation has taken a rather sudden turn for the deadly serious. And I'm afraid that as someone from Mondstadt, I'm not accustomed to this sort of atmosphere. So what if I know my ancestry? Do I strike you as the type who would be bound by that kind of thing?
No.
Relax. I'll be just as delighted to hunt down the Abyss Order tomorrow as I have always been.
Ja.
Either way, looks like we're out of time. I've got a spice merchant to meet in a minute, so I'll leave the three of you to carry on the conversation without me.
Okay.
Well,
See you around.
Bis dann.
And Dainsleif, no need to listen in from the sidelines next time we meet. Let me buy you
ja.
a drink.
you don't really trust him, do you, Dane? You're both from Conria, but you get on like oil and water.
Tja.
The fact is, I still do not know him well. It would be meaningless for me to jump to conclusions. But can a person truly be unaffected by their ancestry? This remains to be seen.
Tja. Ich dachte,
Well,
er
I
ist gewesen.
suspect that they call your brother their prince, precisely because there is a succession of sorts.
Aha.
Oh, so if he was the founder, he'd be the king, right?
I mean to investigate the Loom of Fate.
Ah.
Do you remember that name?
Ja.
Yeah, the Abyss Order's evil plan. We learned about that back in Mondstadt.
Und irgendwas Neues?
Not new. Not exactly. My memories suffer from erosion. But while I was recovering my health recently, I suddenly remembered something. Your
Aha.
brother. He mentioned the Loom of Fate back when we traveled together. Apparently so. I was also quite surprised when these memories tallied up. I recall that we were traveling to Sumeru when the matter was brought up.
Ah,
so,
ja.
you're going to the place that he mentioned back then.
Naja, hier gibt's viele zu sehen, ne?
Correct. At that time, they must have been introduced in one way or another to this concept. If I recall correctly, we were somewhere in a Vidya forest then.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go! Maybe we'll discover some secret that's lain hidden for
Ich wollte doch
hundreds
endlich
of
nach
years.
Fontaine.
No. Now is not the time. No, it's just, I'm still waiting for my drink.
Seriously?
Ich will doch nach Fontaine. Meine Güte, lass mich doch endlich mal. Ich reise die ganze Zeit durch Sumeru, aber nicht dahin, wo ich will. Und dann taucht der Typ schon wieder auf.
Reduced to just standing around. How absurd.
Ja. Ich bin genau seiner Meinung. Na komm. Begeben wir uns mal zu der Stelle.